Good evening and welcome to the online campus of Good Shepherd Church. This is Good Shepherd Live. Tonight's lineup includes an interview with our parishioner, Lieutenant Colonel Deborah Fisher, an extra special behind-the-scenes tour of Good Shepherd Church, and Stump the Priest, questions and answers. I'm Brian Pritchard. Now here are your hosts, Father Neil Sullivan and Father Sam Miller with Good Shepherd.
Hey everybody, welcome to our second episode of Good Shepherd Live. We're so glad that you're with us tonight. Father Miller, how are you doing today?
Are we live?
We are live.
Wait.
We are live, and I had
the
wrong
practice round.
We are live.
I had the wrong screen in.
What are we doing?
We are live. And we got a brand new addition here to our technology. So as you can see, we are in front of a green screen.
Whoa.
And a green screen basically is a green curtain that you're able to, through the computer, put all kinds of different backgrounds. So right now we're in a tunnel. Let's see where Brian's going to take us next.
Let's
see.
see. Little alleyway?
Yeah, the alleyway.
Let's see what we got.
There we go.
Oh, and a castle.
I don't castle.
Nice.
We don't really have anything cool yet. Let's see.
Oh, palm trees. That is
you like
cool.
that?
Oh man.
Where's your masks? You're out. Huh?
Here we
go. It's where everybody wants to be.
There we go. Oh my gosh, nice. That looks pretty nice. Look at that beautiful water.
Breeze.
So welcome everybody. We're so glad that you're here and came back for our second episode. We're live here from Tyndall Road with Good Shepherd Live, part of our online campus that we're trying to really build and connect with each other, to connect us to God. And so we're so glad that you're here with us to be part of this very special night that we're together. A great evening for us as well, as we kind of do our second take at this part of this online campus. We're going to kind of slide to the side here.
Move your heads a little.
There we go.
Now we can see.
Online campus. And what that means is connecting with everybody through technology. And so to be able to continue, as I said, on the weekend, we're really trying, first up until Easter, trying to make sure that we're able to connect with you in the best ways we can. But also now, as we get ready, God willing, for an opening real soon, that we're able to continue to connect with you and learn the things we've learned through all this technology, to really use them and to help us better the way that we serve you through great things. And so we're really very excited about that.
That's right, Father Sullivan, and we've got a great lineup tonight. So as you said, Stump the Priest coming up, but we also have a very special interview with one of our parishioners, and she's a lector, and I've seen her several times at daily mass. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you all Lieutenant Colonel Deborah Fisher. Welcome, Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Welcome so much, Deb. Thank you for joining us today. We're so glad that you could be with us, and you're coming to us from your home via technology, and so we're glad to welcome you. Welcome to Good Shepherd Live.
Well, thanks so much, Father. I'm really thrilled to be on.
Excellent. We're so glad to have you here too. And so we're going to ask you a few questions. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you came from, and a little bit about how you got involved and how you got to be a lieutenant colonel.
Okay, well, I would say I'm kind of a local. I grew up out in the Middletown, Humboldt area, and went to St. Joan of Arc Parish pretty much my whole life, and went to school locally, went to Dickinson College for my undergrad, and Villanova for a graduate degree. I guess few people maybe know this about me, but the military is actually my second career. I know I see a lot of other parishioners at Mass, and I end up coming into Mass in uniform because I'm either on my way to work or on duty. So I'm there in uniform. But when I was probably in elementary school, I always thought, wow, it'd be really neat to go to West Point. So that was kind of a long goal for me. And then in 7th grade, I started to take Latin. And by the end of 8th grade, I said, you know what, this is what I want to do in my career. So my undergrad and one of my graduate degrees is actually in classical studies, Latin and Greek. And that was my first career. I taught high school Latin and worked with gifted students at Cumberland Valley High School for 10 years. And kind of midway through that, decided that I still wanted to fulfill that dream of being in the military. So I ended up getting a commission in the Army Reserves at the time. And then a few years after that, joined the National Guard. So I was in the National Guard for about 5 years and still taught. And I will tell you, I had a great time teaching. I really enjoyed working with the kids, got to take kids to Italy or Greece each year. Just a fantastic career. But about 5 years into my National Guard time as a part-time soldier, so to say, I went on my first deployment to Kosovo and came back and said, well, the military really is something that I'd like to pursue full-time. So that's what kind of got me back into a full-time goal of hitting that, being in the military full-time. So that was back in, I joined the military in 1999. So 20 some years later, here I am. And yes, I did recently make Lieutenant Colonel, so very happy about that.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That is really great. So help us understand, for those who might not know, the difference between the National Guard and how that relates to the other parts of our armed services.
That's a question we get a lot, and the National Guard really is a unique component of the armed forces in that we are, in my case, I am a full-fledged member of the United States Army. I have a commission that hangs on my wall, and we wear the same uniform, have the same standards, etc. But the unique thing about the National Guard is that we have two missions, basically. The active component, and again, I'll speak about the Army, the active component Army, and the reserve, the Army Reserves, primarily serve a federal mission. In other words, they take their orders from the president and his direct chain of command, and primarily go out on overseas deployments, which we hear a lot of over the last couple decades. The National Guard is unique in that we have two missions. We do all of that, and many of us who have been in for so long, I've deployed 3 times now over to the Middle East and elsewhere. But we also have a stateside mission, and that is something that we do kind of in the background very frequently and very much under the radar. We don't get a lot of press on that, and yet when we have some really big stateside crises, such as Hurricane Katrina, as an example, back in 2005, other hurricanes and floods and storms, and now the COVID-19, that's when we also now fall under the direction of the governor, and we work the state mission. So that is something pretty unique. The active duty and the reserve component does do that on occasion. As we've seen most recently with the COVID-19 response, there have been some other components involved in this response, but primarily the National Guard, when it comes to the military, assumes that mission. And we trace that, quite honestly, back to Benjamin Franklin and the Associators back in Philadelphia. The Pennsylvania National Guard is, we claim to be the oldest National Guard in the country because of that relationship back to the Associators. And it was that kind of hometown force that we pride ourselves on.
That's amazing. Wow. So tell us a little bit about what the Guard is doing now when it comes to the COVID response.
Well, I will speak quite honestly from my perspective. I don't want to speak on behalf of the entire force, but I am a logistics officer. So most of my career, I've worked in logistics and personnel. Having said that, the last five years or so, I've been assigned as the State Safety and Occupational Health Manager, which basically means I'm the state safety officer for the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. So I work at the state headquarters, and I do that during the week as prompted by my coming to Mass in uniform early in the mornings. But what we do right now is, as you may have seen on many maybe news clips or in the paper or online, we're supporting a lot of different responses to the COVID-19. And it's been everywhere from, traffic control at some testing sites, or kind of helping to run some of the testing sites at the early stages. We've also worked on, we're really good on logistics and transportation and moving supplies around. So whether it's local food banks, delivering food and supplies to local food banks, we do those sorts of things. And most recently, with some of the urgency, I guess, to providing some support to some of the assisted care facilities throughout the state, we've also kind of ramped up at times to help support that. Remember, in the National Guard and for the reserve component as well, for that matter, most of the force has another career on the side, so to say. So we have individuals in our force who might be infantrymen or signal corps on the military side for their weekend job, but on the civilian job, civilian side, they might be nurses or have some other skill sets that they suddenly can now use in a situation like this. So we're really fortunate in having people within the force who have those skill sets and now can apply that to a situation like this.
That's so important too, my goodness gracious. I don't think everyone really realizes how important the Guard is, and certainly what you're doing right now in so many ways, really on the front lines of the response to this crisis. What can we do as a community, as citizens of the Commonwealth, to help support the Guard?
Well, thanks for that question, Father, because we really do appreciate the support. Again, I will speak from the Guard perspective and having those two mission sets. When we're deployed overseas, I can't tell you how many care packages we get, and they are just phenomenal. And they're honestly so much fun to receive, because a lot of times we get things from church organizations, community groups, etc. And it's just great to know that others are thinking about us when we're thousands of miles away in sometimes pretty stringent conditions. But simultaneously, when we're working a stateside mission like this, we might still be coming home to our houses every day, but we're still really sometimes under some stresses and some constraints. And I will tell you, just the simple thank you for your service really does go a long way. And we really do appreciate that. We appreciate your thinking about us, you're praying for us. And on a very practical sense, I will tell you, I am so appreciative of my neighbors when I come home after a long day and they bothered to drag my trash cans up to the garage door for me. Or in the winter, if I come home and they've shoveled off my driveway, cut the grass, things that are really practical things, but sometimes when you're trying to manage, in this case, 2 jobs or a couple of different jobs, as we know, it can be pretty taxing. So in a practical sense, those really go a long way as well.
Those little things do mean so much for the amazing and big things that you do for us. Deb, we are so proud of you. We thank you for your service, and we're so proud of what you do for our Commonwealth, for our nation, but what you do for our parish as well, too. You are one of our extraordinary ministers. You're a lector, and you are a fixture here at our 6:30 Mass. And so it's really wonderful to see. And we know that faith is a major part of your life. Just one last question for you. How does faith influence or play a role in what you do in service to our nation?
I think, quite honestly, just knowing that that you're part of something bigger, and that no matter what the challenge is, as I said, sometimes we go off on some faraway deployments, and I've certainly had that experience enough. But then we've also, just the normal daily grind, and it's just reassuring to know that it's part of a bigger cause, and that God's really has everything under control. And even though when it seems like an impossible task or just a never-ending misery, perhaps, that we might be going through, I often sense that I'm not alone, and that God will bring me through whatever it is, big or small, and there will always be light on the other end. And quite honestly, I think that's something that we're all keeping in mind right now with the COVID-19, and as kind of debilitating it has felt at times, and maybe that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. I do believe that there is, and soon enough we will see that. And Father Sullivan and Father Miller, I know you're both been really expressing that to all of us out here as your parishioners, and that's going to get us through.
Exactly. We'll get through it with God and with each other. Deb, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As I said, we're so proud of you and so grateful for your service. Be safe, be well, and thanks for keeping us safe and well too. God bless you. So we are moving right along here, and we are moving quickly into the month of May at the end of this week. It's really hard to believe where did April go to, but May is a very special month for Our Lady, and Father Miller has some important information for us today, some information about what we call a Marian consecration. And so, Father, take it away.
All right, you got it. So I spoke to several of us last night about the Marian consecration that will be beginning on April 30th this week. Marian consecration, and we'll be doing what Louis de Montfort put out as the recommended Marian consecration. We'll be attaching that to our 4 o'clock rosary. And Marian consecration is something very beautiful. It's something that unites us to Our Lady and gets us to Jesus through her. So we'll be starting that on April 30th. You can get to it from Facebook and then the phone-in lines as well to join us for that at 4 o'clock with the rosary starting April 30th. Now, the United States and Canada are also doing a reconsecration of both our nations to Our Lady, I think the day prior, right? I think it's May 30th?
They're doing it May 1st?
Or is it May 1st?
May 1st, right,
okay,
May 1st.
And so they'll be reconsecrating our country to Our Lady. It's different. What we're doing is different than what they're doing, but if you guys want to tune into what they're doing, I'm sure you can see it on EWTN. So once again, if you want to join us for our consecration, it'll be on the rosary. We'll start on April 30th at 4 o'clock with the rosary. And I'd love to have you guys. And then we'll conclude it on the Feast of Mary, Mother of the Church, which is June 1st.
The day after Pentecost.
Yes.
It'll be here soon, and we'll be back together soon. Please God.
All right.
So, Father, we have a special segment now that we did last week and a new edition this week. So tell us about it.
Oh, the behind the scenes?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So you guys are in for a treat tonight. So once again, we decided to give you a little behind the scenes look at our glass chapel. And it was a fun filming session. I actually brought our handyman, Brian, with us, who is our handy cameraman today, and he didn't trip or fall or drop the camera, and I didn't flub up any of my lines. So I would say, without further ado, if we turn that puppy on. Oh, well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another behind-the-scenes look at the way we do things here at Good Shepherd. On this segment, we're going to be looking at something that you guys have told us that you love very much, and that is the glass chapel. So, if you follow me, we will take a look at the glass chapel itself. And I'm sure you guys have noticed that it's gone through very many iterations. Do you hear something, Brian?
I definitely hear something.
Where's that coming from, do you think?
Choir loft, maybe?
Think it's coming from the choir loft?
Yeah, I think so. That'd be my guess.
All right, we'll get to the glass chapel next time. Careful on the stairs.
Okay.
The stairs can be treacherous. Oh! Wait till you see who's in the choir loft. Really?
Don't crush the dream. Don't crush the dream. Welcome everybody to the choir loft of our church here at Good Shepherd, and to the magnificent organ that we heard, well, not really heard, playing before. And so I can get by on the organ, but I can't get by like that. So welcome. We thought we'd give you a look today from the choir loft here as the bells are going off. You can tell it's 12 noon here. The bells are going to ring, so we have background music as we are filming this morning, or this afternoon now, but welcome. So not many people besides the choir and the musicians actually see up here at the choir loft, and we thought we'd give you a view from the pew and things like that from up here. And so actually a view from the bench. So I'm going to have Brian come around here and show you kind of what this organ looks like. It's a very, very beautiful organ made by the Moeller Company out of Hagerstown, Maryland, and they are a really great company and this magnificent piece. And so when it comes to this organ, a pipe organ really is a live instrument. And so there is air, bellows, that are creating wind that go through the pipes that we see here. And what happens is when you hit a key here on the keyboard, or one of the keyboards here at the organ, it releases a sound through that pipe. And so when you look at this, there are actually 4 keyboards, or 4 boards as we call them on the organ. The first is the great, which is here, which is the loudest of all of them, and it has the brightest sounds. And then there is the swell that's above it. And then there is the choir, which is below it. So the organist might use one of the keyboards, or a combination of the keyboards, or go back and forth between them. But also then there is a pedal board that is used to play with your feet. And so you can see it looks like a keyboard. And so sometimes the smaller pedals here, which are the black keys on the keyboard, are black, but you kind of feel your way around. And so you can hear it. And of course, that would be the lower tones. And so typically organists, a really good organist, has what they call organ shoes that help them kind of a pointed toe. But typically what I do when I play, I just take my shoes off and kind of feel my way around the pedal board a little bit.
You're not the only organist that does that.
Nope, a lot do. Sometimes you can know too, because you know when they have their shoes off, if you know what I mean.
Got it, yeah.
But each of the sounds here on the organ is created by different stops. And when you look at the different stops here, all these things come out and are played and things like that. So, and each of the stops has a name that describes the sound, but also then a number. And those numbers indicate the length of the pipe, the height of the pipe. And it makes sense that the higher the number, the higher the number, the bigger the pipe, and so the bigger the sound. Actually, the lower the sound, and the smaller the number indicates a smaller pipe, and therefore a smaller sound, a higher sound. So, for example, we'll look here at the choir, keyboard, and we're going to put the clarion on. And so here's the clarion, and it's a 4-foot pipe. Let me get the volume up here a little bit. I'm going to open up the chambers and let air go through. Oh, it's not working for me. Hold on, let me see here. The magic of live television. Let's try something else here. Let's try the flute. Okay, that's an 8-foot pipe. And then we'll go to the great keyboard, and we'll go to the knockthorn, which is a 2-foot pipe. That's about the smallest pipe in this chamber here. So you can see how the difference between how high that is, how high of a pitch, and then the difference between the 8-foot. The biggest pipe that we have here on this organ in our choir loft is a 32-foot pipe. And I'm going to play you the loudest, the longest, the lowest sound that we have here on the organ. And that's the 32-foot pipe on the choir loft, in the pedal board. And so here we go. So pretty low, pretty low. What that does is kind of ground the organ. So instead of one, if you think about an orchestra with all the different sounds and things like that, what the organ does is to take all those different sounds, different pitches, different heights and sounds, feelings, and really kind of the nature, the warmth of those sounds, and combine them together. And there are different ways here to be able to kind of combine keyboards and switch between keyboards and whatnot. But it's not only sounds in the sense of pitches, but also the organ also has its own set of bells, and that we call that a Zimbelstern. And so here is a little bit of the bells that are on this organ. Not so much chimes, but actually bells that are back there almost on a turntable that are swinging around and hitting a hammer that creates this sound. So pretty nice. Sometimes we'll use that for the Gloria and things like that. So a big machine here that is really an instrument, a living instrument that breathes the breath through the pipes and creates the sound to support our singing and to add beauty and really dignity and really a solemnness to our sacred liturgy. So that's a look here at the organ, all kinds of things to kind of play with up here, and sometimes I'll come up and play with it when there's no one around and to see what I can do with it. I'm a little bit out of practice, but as you can see up here, there's room for our choir members to sit, and they all have their names on their chairs to make sure everybody has their spot. And over here we actually have the keyboard that is played over here too to give us a different style of music here. And so Doreen will play this. And so while this is live sound, this is a recorded sound. And so the great thing about this and technology is that this keyboard has unlimited possible combinations of what the sounds might be. So it can sound like a live piano, a grand piano. It can sound like a harpsichord. It can sound like all types of things in here. Also, we have up here our timpani drums that can be used to add all kinds of special solemnity and funness to what we're doing. A lot of just that sense of a drum, of the regalness of special occasions. And over here, Father Miller, is our Jubilee bell, and that's the bell that you hear that is chimed as Mass is ready to begin. So a pretty big bell there. This door over here, you won't go in for this, so you might see this door over here in the choir loft. This door goes back into really where the bellows are, where the machinery is that's creating the wind to push through the pipes. To push through those pipes. And Brian, take a look here. You can see the smaller pipes here. Those are the tiny ones. Those are the higher sounds, the higher pitches. And then the really, really big ones there that are huge. So quite impressive. We're very blessed here to have a pipe organ at Good Shepherd. It certainly was an important thing when the church was built, and not many churches have the blessing really of a real pipe organ to allow us to play that way. But when you look here, when you look at the church itself, you can see the view from here in the loft, really a bird's eye view of what the church looks like. And so really a great view here to see and get a whole sense. And when you look at it, really, the choir loft is not really too far from the sanctuary. But it's pretty hard, though, because the organ faces one way, and so the organist has to know when things are happening. And so it's hard to have eyes in the back of our heads, but we have the best next thing, and that is a mirror right here that Jareen looks at on the organ right here, that she looks at to be able to see what's taking place in the sanctuary. So you get a shot here, Brian. Hopefully you'll see Brian looking into it, but you'll see how Jareen looks into that mirror to go back there to the sanctuary. And she can see what's taking place then as well too. So a lot of incredible and fun things here in the choir loft. And so if you're looking, maybe when we get back open, we might be able to do a live tour up here in the choir loft. And we're always looking for singers, cantors, choir members, even musicians. If you play something, please reach out to Jareen to be able to join in our wonderful music ministry here at Good Shepherd. Really, we use our gifts to praise and give thanks to God. So, thanks for joining us on this special tour of the Good Shepherd Choir Loft, our organ, and this incredible place in our church. Thank you.
Okay, guess what time it is?
What time is it, Brian?
Look behind you.
I just see green.
Stump the priests.
Okay.
Here
You
we
guys-
go.
Let's see who could touch the letter S on stump. Who could?
See. Oh,
Oh,
there we go.
there you go.
Disney
There you
point.
go.
There we go.
There you go. You got it. All right. That's harder. That's
It is hard.
That's harder. That's
That's how the
hard.
weather people do it on
That is-
the news.
That is hard. Okay. This week's theme is patron saints. You
Yep.
guys ready?
Yep, her.
All right. Our first question, Father Sullivan. Who is the patron saint of music?
Oh, that's easy. That's Saint Cecilia, because she kept a song as she's being led to being martyred for being a Christian in the early church. She kept a song of faith in her heart, singing in her heart. So that's Saint Cecilia.
That is correct.
Where's the confetti?
Father Miller, who is the patron saint of athletes?
So I know it's Saint Sebastian because my sister did a report on him one day, but I couldn't tell you why. I know he was like a soldier and he was martyred by arrows, but I couldn't tell you why he was patron saint of athletes.
We will look that up and find that out for you and tell you next week.
Oh, great, thanks.
All right. Father Sullivan, who is the patron saint of children?
The patron saint of children is Saint Nicholas, the Bishop of Smyrna, who we know as Saint Nicholas, and he's the patron saint of children because he made sure that there were some children in the family. The family was very poor, and he threw those gold coins through the window to make sure that the children were not going to be sold off into slavery to pay their father's debt. So he is the patron saint of children, Saint Nicholas.
That is correct. Crowd's going crazy.
There you go.
Father Miller, who is the patron saint of grandparents?
I think there's saints. I think there's two of them because it's Saint Joachim and Saint Anne, who is the mother and father of Mary, who was the mother of Jesus. So Jesus had grandparents. So obviously they're the patron saints of grandparents. So
That is correct. This question is for both of you. Who is the patron saint of pharmacists? Father Sullivan, you go first.
Patron saint of pharmacists. I'm going to guess Saint Cosmas and Damien because they are patron saints of doctors, and so it's medical. It might be close.
Nope, that's wrong.
Okay.
Saint Hildegard of Bingen.
Nope, that is also wrong. You ready? I got the answer right here.
Okay.
The patron saint of pharmacists is Saint John Lenardi. Born in Tuscany in 1541, he worked in a pharmacy while he studied for the priesthood.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Learned something
That's-
today. Hope you did too. And we pray really for all of our pharmacists who are taking good care of us and everyone working on the front lines of the medical community and everyone who's working so very, very hard to keep us safe and well during this critical time. And so, can you believe it, Father? That brings us to the end of this week's show. Where'd it go?
It's a very quick half hour. It's been very quick, April. It's just very fast. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Very glad to have had you. So, as I always say for the people that join me for the rosary, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm always late with telling you guys to share the video. So whenever these videos come up, if you want to share them, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, you can like, comment, hit that notification bell, and that'll let you know whenever we start the show. If you forget, like my parents did, because I'm waiting for like the commentary to happen, but they're not saying anything, so I think they forgot tonight. So if you find that, you hit that notification bell, you'll know right away when we're broadcasting live. So thank you guys once again so much for joining us.
And don't forget all the things happening here on our online campus. So everything that we do to reach out to you and keep us all connected to God and to each other, because we are stronger together. So remember that we have daily Mass Monday through Saturday at 8:30 a.m., both on Facebook Live, on our YouTube channel, and on our call-in number. Sunday Masses are at 9:30 on Sunday mornings. And then we have the Rosary every day at 4 p.m. We have prayers for the sick on Mondays at 7 p.m., the Divine Mercy Chaplet on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., and then there's morning prayer and evening prayer with Deacon Kylie every day at 7:30 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. So, sorry, thank you, 5:30 p.m. 5:30 a.m. would be pretty early. So 7:30 a.m. for morning prayer and 5:30 p.m. for evening prayer. So remember, stay connected. We can get through all of this together, and soon, God willing, we'll be back together. So until then, be smart, be safe, be well, be holy, and be at peace. God bless you.